Hi, welcome to Maree. Today I'm going to share with you an apple frangipane tart. It sounds fancy, but it's super easy. If I can make it, you can make it. So the first step is we need to make a short crust pastry, which goes on the base of the tart. And I'm going to use spelt flour today, because that's my preferred flour, but feel free to use plain flour. 155 grams of spelt flour, and that's about a quarter of a cup. Sorry, that's about 1 1/4 cups, and we've got some chilled butter that it's all cubed ready to go, and that's 90 grams, which is about 1/3 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon. So we're just going to beat this until it resembles breadcrumbs. Put it on low to start with so your flour doesn't fly everywhere. So we still have some larger lumps of butter, so we're just going to make sure that it gets a little bit finer, but we don't want to overwork this part. So now we're going to add in some sugar. I'm doing 60 grams of caster sugar, which is 4 tablespoons. And then I've got 2 egg yolks that I've already got ready and waiting. Now the trick is not to overwork the dough. We just want to mix this up until it's combined, and then we can do the last bit of it with our hands. Okay, that's ready to just work in with our hands now. So we're going to take it off. So we're just going to make our dough. Okay, that's ready. So now we just need to rest this in the refrigerator. I was inspired by a recipe in an Italian cookbook. They say 30 minutes, but I like to rest it for 60 minutes or even overnight. And this dough will last in your refrigerator for about 4 to 5 days and in your freezer for about 3 months. So it's a great one just to prep and then have on standby. I've formed a disc. You could put a little bit of flour in it, but we're just going to cover it in cling wrap or plastic wrap. So I have a pastry dough that I prepared earlier. So we're going to roll that out. So I'm just using my pastry mat, and our tart pan is a 23 centimetre or 9 inch. So I'm going to roll this until it's just a little bit beyond that. A pastry mat's great because it gives you the lines of where to roll it to and takes all the guesswork out. So I've got my oven on. I've got it on 160 degrees C fan. Well, that's 180 without a fan. And just about there. A trick on getting this up is you roll the dough or your pastry back over your rolling pin, and then you roll it onto your pie dish. And I've greased that slightly with butter. You make sure you've got some overlapping. You roll that back in. So we're a bit short on there, but what I'll do is get our rolling pin, roll that back over, and then that cuts off the side. And then what you can do, no drama, you can just add some extra to the bits where you think they might need it. Our pie crust is very forgiving. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to roll those last bits off. And this tin gives it a really nice pattern, and it's got a removable base. Now I'm going to chill this for 30 minutes. So for our filling, I'm going to do it on the stand mixer, but you can do it with a handheld electric mixer, or you can just do it with a whisk. So we've got some unsalted room temperature butter, that's 165 grams. We've got 160 grams of caster sugar. So we're going to whip that up until it's fluffy for about 30 seconds. Fluffy and light. Now we've got 3 eggs. They're whole eggs, so I'm going to add 1 at a time just until it's combined. It's called stop and scrape. Add the final egg. That's it for the mixing, and then we're just going to fold in the other ingredients. So we're going to put a pinch of salt, a pinch of ground cinnamon. That was a generous pinch. This is just my little tweak because I love cinnamon in everything. And then we've got 1.5 tablespoons of flour. I'm using spelt flour. 230 grams of ground almonds, which is about 1 cup plus a quarter. So we're just going to fold that in together, and then we can set that aside and put that into our pie crust once that's all done. I'm just going to pop it into this bowl so I can pop it into my fridge. Pop, pop, pop. So I'm going to cover this with wrap and place it in the fridge. So our tart shell has been chilling. Now I'm going to poke it with a fork just to give it some air holes on the base. And we need to bake this shell for 10 minutes. So I'm going to use what's called baking beads. If you don't have these, you can use just dried beans, chickpeas, rice. So we're lining the shell with baking paper. And we're going to use all of the beans. You've got to make sure that the weights go right to the edges. This is to bake the shell without it going all puffy. So baking this in our preheated oven for 10 minutes. Next step, we need to remove all these beads and make sure they don't go on the floor, and bake it again for another 10 minutes. So we're going to ouch, that was hot. Make sure you pick up this with gloves because it was hot when I tried before. So we're going to bake this for another 10 minutes. So the shell's out of the oven. The next step is I'm going to slice the apples. I'm using red apples today. I'm going to leave the skin on because it just looks fun having the skin colour come through. So I'm going to cut 4 sides to this apple. Then I'm going to cut it so we've got the pieces so we can fan it out on top of the tart. It'll make sense once I start putting it on. So we're putting in our almond mix into the pie shell. So now we bake this back in our oven for about 40 to 50 minutes until it's golden brown and all the filling is cooked. But stick around because I'll show you what I do right at the end before I serve it. So back with our tart, and it took 50 minutes in the oven today, and we've taken the ring off, but we need to let it totally cool before we serve it. But to serve it, we add a little bit of fancy icing sugar. So I'm just going to adjust that. So if you've liked my video today, hit the thumbs up. Share it with a friend. Let me know in the comments below if you've baked this and you've liked it. So there you go. That's my apple Frangipane Tart. I'll try and pick it up. It's still warm. There you go. Smells delicious. I have to be patient. I have to wait till it cools down before I can cut it open and eat it. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye.